Hey guys, welcome to another episode of I've Always Been This Way. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about what do women look for in a man. And really, I'm not an expert in a motherfucking thing. I am an expert in nothing, but I enjoy a variety of topics, so I thought this would be kind of something fun for me to take a spin at. By no stretch of the imagination do I have any formal education about psychology. I've just been married for 30 years and I kind of know what I find attractive in my husband. And since we've been married for 30 years, I figured maybe I would try to impart my wisdom on some fucktard idiot men that are still single in their 40s, or maybe not single and just find this amusing. The first thing I find attractive in a man, or that I think is necessary quality in a man, is confidence. And I'm not talking about being cocky, because every man is cocky and 100% full of shit 100% of the time. I'm talking about confidence. And if a man is not confident, it doesn't matter what other qualities they have. They could be the most attractive person on the earth, but if they're not confident in who they are and how they present themselves, then it doesn't really matter. So a man has to be confident. And a funny example of this is Michael and I started dating in 1991. And he initially, I guess, was too nervous to ask me out. Or, in my opinion, he was too cocky and decided to ask a friend of mine if I would go out with him. And she posed the question to me like, oh, hey, do you know this guy? And I'm like, yes, I've known him for 100 years, whatever. I know he's kind of a pig, and a nice pig, but a pig not for me. And she's like, oh, well, he wants to know if you would go out with him. And I started laughing, and I said, he doesn't have any balls? Like, he can't pick up the phone and call me himself? And she's like, well, I don't know. I guess he was just a little nervous or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is bullshit. If a man is not confident or overly confident, which I think my husband may have been in this particular case, that I was going to jump at the chance to go out with him, that he thought he could ask a friend and I would say yes. But ladies, if you're single and you're out there, or if you were ever single and this happened to you, and you ever said yes, you're a fucking idiot. The reason why you're an idiot is because a man should always have to call you himself to ask you out, or be man enough to come up to you and ask you out. So my friend, went to him and said, Christy said she would not go out with you unless you called her yourself to ask. So when Michael called me, I proceeded to, give him a little mini lecture on not being a dickhead and actually making the phone call himself to call me. And I think at that moment he was like, oh shit, what the fuck have I got myself into? I haven't even been on a date with her and this bitch is nuts already. But he knew I was crazy. I mean, we'd known each other for years. We'd actually gone to high school dances with our other partner. Like, I had a high school boyfriend and his girlfriend was a good friend of mine. So while we didn't date in high school, we went on double dates just with other people. So he kind of knew the personality I was. And the fact that he thought I was going to say yes to having a friend ask me if I would go out with him was absurd. So like I said, when he called, I gave him a bunch of shit and he still asked me out. So I said yes, and it was just kind of a bizarre thing. You grow up with this person and not really on your radar as far as dating. And I'd heard a whole bunch of stuff about his college behaviors, histrionics of Michael, because his sister and my sister were then and are still very good friends. So I'd hear all sorts of ridiculous stories and antics from him. But I decided, like, hey, this dude is calling me and asking me out, what harm is it to say yes, right? It's not a huge investment to say yes to somebody, even though you think they may or may not be your soulmate. It's kind of like going to the mall. Although, does anybody do that anymore? I don't fucking know. Going to the mall and trying on a bunch of jeans till a certain pair that you really love fits, and you buy those. That's kind of what dating is. And so, obviously, since I wasn't, in a serious relationship at that time, I said, sure, I'll go out with you. And we ended up having a great time. And although we had, a little bit of bumps along the way, obviously here we are 30 plus years later, getting along pretty well. So when I was kind of thinking about how to compile a list of what women look for in a man, was more so like what I feel like the qualities are in Michael. Of course, he's going to get like a gigantic ego. He's such a fucktard. Anyway, he said to me today, before I started recording this, he said, what was the quote? Oh, shit. Oh, man. He says so many dumb things, it's hard to remember all of them. He said, should just feel honored to be in his presence. And although he's joking a little bit, I really do feel like I have been very blessed in my life to be married to somebody that I really like to be around. So, like I said, being confident is very important, but not cocky. Although Michael can sometimes be cocky, but it doesn't usually work out in his favor, so he should dial it back to just being confident. And the truth of the matter is, if you don't, during your dating life, if you're dating a guy who, like I said, who doesn't have confidence, it doesn't matter what his other qualities are at all. Because you could have the best looking guy or the smartest guy or whatever, but if he has no confidence in who he is, how he presents himself to you, it's nice to have somebody that's sure of themselves. Even though I'm not, like, by any stretch of the imagination, like this perfect individual, I have confidence in who I am. I'm like, shit, I'm 54 years old, and if you're not confident in yourself with all your flaws and everything else by this point, then you're fucked. If you're 54, you had, I'm talking about, I don't know why I'm talking in third person. Anyway, 54 years old, and I've gotten to the point in my life where, yes, I would like to be thinner. Yes, I would like to not have like 14 chins. I get it, but we all have our burdens to bear. But at the end of the day, I know that I have confidence in who I am, because that's important. It's a necessity. It's how you carry yourself. It's how you present yourself. It's how you go into a place and talk to people you don't know. Confidence is key. Number one thing that I think a woman should look in a man in a relationship. But of course, I think it's reversed. It could be easily reversed too. Like, a woman should also present herself confidently, not like as a huge egomaniac or, cocky. Another thing I find very amusing is with Michael and a lot of the men in my life, very good manners. Of course, anybody that knows Michael probably fell off their fucking chair and busted their ass laughing at that. But Michael does have very good manners. Even on our first date, always, open the door for me, close the door for me, all those things. And if you're out with somebody and he or she, depending on who you're dating, whatever, is a complete dickhead to any kind of wait staff or anybody. Like, even when I go to McDonald's, I'll ask the person, that's handing me my food how their day is. Because at that point, has anybody asked how their day was up to that point? And what does it cost you to have good manners? Of course, a lot of people would probably say that I don't have good manners. But you know what? Fuck you, okay? If that's what you think. I have the fucking best manners ever. It's just I choose when to use them and when to not use them, okay? I'm not here to impress anybody at my age. And it's not, you shouldn't have to present yourself as trying to impress somebody. You should always be able to be your true self. So manners are very important. And also it's so funny because a compliment is a great thing to get. But if it's bullshit, it's like way too much. Like, calm down. I know I am not the most beautiful person you've ever seen. Like, don't tell me that. No woman wants to hear that because it's complete bullshit. Compliment somebody based on the qualities you see in them specifically, not a generalization like she's the most beautiful person you've ever seen, because it's just absurd. And it's probably not true. I mean, if I even thought for a moment I was the most beautiful person in the world, I would be modeling instead of this podcast. Well, I don't know if that's fucking true. I'll probably do the podcast anyway because I have such a big loud mouth and annoying. Another important thing in a man or in a woman, either way, is how